And we're on. Compliment me. Okay, tough crowd, tough crowd. We're going to do page 28, sum product factoring. We've done GCF last week where we take the biggest number, which means we start with a small number and go down, and then the smallest exponent of x or y, but remember you can't take an x out unless every term has an x. And the trig you worked on yesterday on Friday is going to be due for the midterm. It'll be the first review assignment due for the midterm, so you can work on that every once in a while whenever you have extra time, and then in 5 weeks I'll revisit it, so don't lose that giant trig package. And if you've done that, at least you didn't do it for no reason, you'll get marks on it soon enough. Okay? And probably after Easter. It's so sunny. You guys are all sunburned. 16 degrees yesterday. Anyone go fly a kite? It's been perfect kite flying weather. Except it was all wet. In June, you can fly a kite with all your homework. Tie your book to a string and voila. More math fun. Okay, so who can tell me what sum means? Use your arms. Tell me what sum means with your arms. Use your arms. Tell me with your arms. Yeah, plus, good job. Everyone do plus sign. That's sum. That's not going to help you remember, it's just waking up and having fun. And show me what product means with your arms. Oh, that makes you feel tough, like a X-Man or superhero. Okay, so sum is addition. Product is multiplication. We're always going to start with product because there's only a certain amount of numbers that multiply to 10. 1 and 10 and 2 and 5, that's it. There's an infinite amount of numbers that add to 10 if you talk about negative numbers as well. So you're always going to start with the product. I want to see if you can figure these ones out right here. So we want two numbers that, again, start with the multiply. Two numbers that multiply to 20, so there's only 3 pairs. 1, 20, 2, 10, 4, 5, and then one of them have to add to 12. The numbers are 2 times 10 is 20, 2 plus 10 is 12. Okay, so start with the product first. Go ahead and fill these 3 in. See how you do on your own before I give you some rules. So the first row, you need two numbers that multiply to 20 and add to 9. The same two numbers that multiply to 20, add to 9. Put them in blank and move on. Math help is tomorrow. Thursday. Battle of Alberta tonight. And Wednesday. Andrew got ripped off because her birthday was Friday. You didn't even say anything. Oh, was it Thursday? Oh, yeah. Thursday. Oh, right, because I wasn't here Friday. So, I think it's too late to sing happy birthday. But we can all look at Kendra and salute. Let's go. Salute. Way to be born. Alright, smiley cats. Looks like you guys are ready for maybe the last one. I'm certain it was the hardest. What two numbers multiply to 20 and add to 9? Show me with your fingers or your hands. 4 and 5, good. Doesn't matter if you put 5 and 4. Oops. Show me with your fingers. Be with your man. The two numbers multiply to 2 and add to 2. Peace with you. 2 and 2. And now this is a hard one. What two numbers multiply to 18 and add to negative 9? Show me with your fingers. Just kidding, unless you do those deformed finger things like my wife can. Disjointed, I don't know, double jointed, triple jointed. Anybody else? Figure it out. Tell me. Kendra, do you know? Awesome. Yep. Okay, so two negatives will get a positive product and a negative sum. So those are the integer rules you need to know. First, what you need to know is if you have a positive product, write this down, please. Positive product means the two numbers have the same signs. Now, if you want to, you can write down they're both positive or they're both negative. If you have a positive product, you either have two positive numbers or two negative numbers. Everyone write this down, please, whether you know it or not. If you have a negative product, and you need to know this for decomp as well, so you really need to ace these charts because the factoring we do is going to be all about these charts. So two numbers have different signs. And if they have different signs, simply that means one is positive and one is negative. So that's what we know right here. Or sorry, the first one we did was a positive product, so we know it's both positive or both negative. If it adds to a negative, then they both have to be negative. So good job, Kendra and others. Now there's other ones like this, where you have a negative product, and here you have a negative sum, and here you have a negative product and a positive sum. So there's a rule for that one too. And I'm running out of room. So let's go, if it's a negative sum, and I'm just going to write down NEG for negative. If the sum is positive, the big number is positive. And POS means positive. And similarly, if the sum is negative, I know a lot of writing, just go ahead. Everyone's fingers should be moving. Don't just stare at it. Thank you, everyone. If the sum is negative, the big number is negative. So let's do the next 4 of these rules. It's good to know right away whether we're looking for 2 negative numbers or 1 positive and 1 negative number. And these rules, not a lot of them, there's 4 rules here. But when you get used to them, they come to you pretty quickly. So, when you see the product, if it's positive, these are positive. They're either 2 positive numbers or 2 negative numbers. What do you think if they add to negative they are? 2 negative numbers. Here they add to negative. 2 negative numbers. Should make sense. If they are negative products, that means you have one negative and one positive number. 3 and 2, one's positive, one's negative. In this case, the sum is negative, so the big number is negative. In this case, the sum is positive, so the big number is positive. That means the other one is negative. Okay, so you can guess and check. I don't care how you do it, but these rules are going to help you. Hopefully the numbers appear to you right away. If not, use these rules and you'll get better and better and better. And you're going to have to know these rules for sum product and decomposition and grade 11 and grade 12 and your wedding day. All that fun stuff. Okay, so product 14, two numbers that multiply to 14. Again, you start with the product. I wish it was called product sum, not sum product. In fact, I start calling it product sum. Even though I won't do that because I've called it sum product for 87 years. But you start with the product. There's only two pairs of numbers that multiply to 14. It's either these two numbers or these two numbers. So if they add to negative 15, you know that they're these numbers. Now, does 1 times 14 add to negative 15? No, add to positive 15. So what do you need to do? Two negative numbers. That's what this means. Positive product, negative sum means two negative numbers. So negative 1 and negative 14. Okay, next. We got a negative product. What does that mean? That means you have one positive number and one negative number. There's only two numbers, or two pairs of numbers that multiply to 6. It has to be one of those. That's it. So which ones multiply or add to negative 1? Are they going to be the 1 and the 6 or the 2 and the 3? They're the 2 and the 3. And now if you know this rule, if the sum is negative, because this sum is negative, the sum is negative, the big number is negative. So which one's negative, 2 or 3? Good. Now if you like that rule, use it. If you don't like that rule, just put a negative sign somewhere on one of them and see if it works. Just put a negative sign. In fact, it doesn't matter even if we put negative 2 here. So if we know the numbers are 2 and 3, put in negative there, and then see if they add up to negative 1. If they don't, you need to move the negative sign to the other one. Okay, do they add up to? No, they add up to 1. So that means I need to put negative, although I don't want you to put a big blotch there. So 2 and negative 3 are the winners. Okay, do the next two. You're sick of hearing me do it, you do it. If you want to, you can put the numbers quickly, but try to do them in your head. But a number like 48, you might have to go through all the factors of 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 16, 4 times 12, and see which ones give you negative 26. Okay, fill in the last two rows. Try to apply the rules. Take your best guess. Don't put nothing. Get stuck, then just think about all the numbers that multiply 15. You can put negative 15, but 15 is fine. It's the same thing. You can deal with negative signs later. I will take attendance, and I might as well pause the podcast. Pause. Okay, let's fire these off. 15, two numbers multiply to 15, 1 and 15 are 3 and 5. If you're going to add to 2, there's got to be 3 and 5. Now, you got to do something else, because 3 plus 5 does not equal 2. And you know that if it's a negative product, one number is positive, one number is negative. That's the only way you can get a negative product. Okay, so if the sum is positive, the big number is positive. Or you can just do guess and check and put one of them as negative and see if it works. If it doesn't, just put the other one as negative. There's only two choices. This either has to be negative or this either has to be negative. Okay? 48, tough one. Anybody find it? Oh, Brittany, good job. 24 and 2, good. And that doesn't add to negative 26, so how do you get them to add negative? We'll make them both negative, well said, which is what you said, but I just want to see, get the numbers first and then put the signs in. Okay? Next two charts are yours. Fill them in. You can see that this is another way of saying stop sign guy, saying my rules. So we'll take a quick peek at that and go ahead and fill this whole chart in, both sides. And basically that's all we're doing for some product. You're going to need to find two numbers and multiply to 10 and add to 7. That's the hard part. The easy part is putting your answer down in brackets. Okay, so do that. If you're in podcasting, pause until you're done those charts and then unpause. Okay, let's just correct the left-hand side to make sure we're on the right track. Two numbers that multiply. Write down multiplication sign above product and sum. You need to know those words for the rest of your life. What two numbers multiply to 18 and add to 11? Thank you. No, 2 and 9. Good try though. Doesn't matter how you write it. Good job. Perfect. 9 and 2 or 2 and 9. About two numbers multiply to 24 and add to 11. Kendra. 3 and 8. Perfect. A little harder now, negative signs. Two numbers are multiplied to negative 10 and add to negative 3, and don't make a sign mistake. Because you don't have to. You have a calculator. Go ahead, Sydney. Two and what?
Negative 5.
Yep, perfect. So if you mix up the signs, it's okay. You're just learning, but if you mix up the signs, they don't add up to negative 3, they add up to positive 3. Okay, so don't mix up the signs, it's easy to check. And two numbers multiply to 8 and add to negative 6. Emma? Perfect. So 4 and 2, and if they're positive product and negative sum, the only time you can have that is when they're both negative numbers. Okay, finish them off. Sorry for interrupting. Pause. Okay, go ahead and do some toothpick races, especially if you have some younger brothers and sisters. It's a blast. Two numbers are multiplied to negative 90 and add to 1. What? That's impossible. I give up. Andrew doesn't give up. Negative 9 and 10. If you put the other opposite signs, you're very close, but very close isn't good enough because you're going to lose half your marks. Because negative 9 is a different number than positive 9. So you can't get the signs messed up or you're going to lose half your marks. This might be a little easier when we start it, but eventually we're going to want the exact right signs. Okay, how about negative 40 and 18? That's a little tougher. Kind of similar to the one we did over here, or up there, with the 24 and 2. Yep. Good. Negative 20 and 2. Does that make sense? If the sum is negative, the big number is negative. Yep. And what about two numbers that multiply to 64 and add to 16, everybody? Everybody? 8 and 8. Make sure you write down this 8 first, and then this 8 second, not the other way. That was a funny look by that guy. Two numbers multiplied to negative 48 and negative 2. You do this one, you do anyone. Who's got it? Someone different? Anyone different? Katie? No, good try. You're right, 24 and 2 multiply together, but they're not going to add, so 24 and 2, they wouldn't add to 2. They're too far away. Come on, somebody different. Thank you. Negative 8 and 6. Perfect. Go, Brady, go. And again, if you put negative 6 and 8, you're very close. Just fix it up. Because now, the only thing you have to do is just quickly check. Do your numbers multiply to negative 48. And if they don't, if they multiply to positive 48, then they're wrong. You need to change the sign. And do they add to negative 2? And if they don't, you need to move a negative sign around. Okay? Now, why do we do this? Because that's all we're doing for some product. Okay, so write down some product. This is some product factoring. And you can only do sum product factoring if it starts with x squared. However, you always do sum product factoring if it starts with x squared, because decomp is 4 steps. This one is 1 step and you're done. So if you decomp this, you are getting fired because you're taking 3 times longer to do your job. So, here is, this says this. The number at the end is the product, and the number in the middle is the sum, when it starts with x squared. Okay, so let's write that down. We're going to get a mini chart from these numbers. So our product, and again we always start with the product, is 12. We need 2 numbers that multiply to 12. And our sum is a number in front of x. So now somebody tell me what 2 numbers multiply to 12 and add to 8. Oh, I forgot to count it. Young days, I used to do this all the time. So the teachers complain. Okay, what 2 numbers multiplied? Someone, Sydney?
6.
6 and 2, or 2 and 6, you bet. Okay, so now, that's the hard part. The easy part is, what does factoring mean? Remember the Wheel of Fortune? Anybody remember? Create brackets. So we write down 2 brackets. The only way we get x is x times x, and when we FOIL is x squared. And then we put our numbers, it doesn't matter which way, in the bracket. Oh good, I am taping. Plus 6 and plus 2. What? That is so awesome! I agree with what you just shouted out. Good job, everyone. Believe it or not, and then once you put this, just check it quickly. Do I get an x squared? Do I get a 2x plus 6x is 8x? Do I get a 12? Yes. Everything works if I FOIL that in collected like terms. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, I did invent this when I was 2. I was bored. Rubik's Cube, no problem. I do a little bit of math after my nap. Okay, that's what you do. Let's do C. So that's the easier one with 2 positive numbers. Now we got a negative number, so I need 2 numbers that multiply to 12 and add to negative 13. We're doing C now. 2 numbers multiply to 12 and add to negative 13. We've seen that, saw this once already. So they multiply to 12, you have either 2 positive numbers or 2 negative numbers. If they add to negative, they're obviously 2 negative numbers. All right, I got some volunteers. Thank you, Grandpa. Good. And now I'm going to let you fill in the answer, but please put equal signs. Don't just put brackets. Start with equal signs, not brackets. Go ahead and fill in the answer. If the negative 1 and negative 12. Declan, you got this? Man. We're using jumping jacks. Wake up. Why don't you move that filing cabinet for me over there? If you don't mind. One hand each. Okay, so if your numbers are negative 1 and negative 12, all you do is put in brackets is x subtract 1 and x subtract 12. Did anybody check that using FOIL? Does that work? X squared, yep. Negative 12x and negative 1x is negative 13x. What's negative 1 times negative 12? Plus 12. Super duper. All right, lastly, we're doing E. Go ahead. I'll let you work on it. Why you guys aren't writing anything? Hurry up. Easy numbers. Two numbers are multiplied to 4 and add to 3. Piece of cake. And this is where you need to read the question. What does the question say? So what's the answer? Natalie? What's the answer, somebody? Hands up? Yeah, you gotta write that math off. What's this in math? Hands up. I don't know. What's it? You gotta say, I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know is nothing. Are there two numbers multiplied to 4 and add to 3? No, not possible. Now, I'm never going to ask you this question, so if you write not possible for 5 questions, you're going to get all 5 wrong. So I'm just giving you, make sure you read the question before in math and in anything, science, English, because it might give you a hint. That implies that one of these you can't do, so you don't need to stare at this for 10 minutes. Okay, go ahead and do the next 3, or the remaining 3, please. Do BDF on your own. Find the 2 numbers, and then put them in the bracket. You're done. The end. And this doesn't make sense to you right now, but write down do not decomp because it's 4 times longer. It starts at x squared. It's a sum product question. Once you find the 2 numbers, you just put them in the brackets. You're done. You love these ones. They're short and sweet. 2 complete. And summer heat while eating the treats. Okay, you ready? Alright, if you're ready, I'll give you another one. There you go. Tough guys, we're done. Guys and gals, tough gals. If you're done, do G. Some of them you're just going to punch and you go, but pause, pause, pause. Alright, so they need to show them off. So this is Charlie Powers, Husky jersey. Again, I coached him 12 years ago. Now he's got 2 Grey Cup rings and played with the Stamps. If you're a hockey player, Corbin Knight was a hockey player. He went to our school. He played for the Flames. Among others, made it to the NHL. You can do it. His Jeff Hassler also went to U of S and played football for the Huskies, but he was more passionate about rugby and played with the Canadian national team and made a living in playing rugby, I believe, in Scotland. And then there's the dogs that I taught, and they are, 2 dogs are in one step away in the Major League Baseball. I'm sure there's actually some dogs that have played in Major League Baseball. It's a pretty amazing organization. So be proud of your alumni. Keep dreaming about Ocean. I have not told her yet once. I haven't told her once yet that she is not playing in the NHL. She's going to be the first girl in the NHL. Even though she hasn't played hockey and really doesn't practice that much without me. I just told her Wayne Gretzky used to play 3 times a night after school. Wayne Gretzky used to practice, then eat supper after school, then eat supper, and then practice after school, after supper, and then do his homework, and then practice, unless he had any other sporting events. So, yeah, that's how you get elite, is do nothing but live in the gym or on the ice. What are we doing? This one, 2 numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 13. What numbers do you put in the brackets, everyone? 1 and 12. Good. D, 2 numbers that multiply to 10 and add to negative 11. What are those numbers, everyone? Good. Now, if you put X here, that's fine. Just don't do it again. But if you put the wrong letter one time, I'm still going to mark it right. But just concentrate on what letter it is. And then 2 numbers that multiply to 50 and add to 27. Let's say everyone, not one person. Everyone? 2 and 25 or 25 and 2. Yep. And again, if you check this, you get 25x plus 2x, which is 27x, plus 50. Check it in your head and make sure you didn't make a sign mistake. If you made a sign mistake, switch signs. And then G. Anybody find 2 numbers that multiply to negative 81 and add to negative 24? Oh, nice. Go with Jack Sparrow. Hold on. Agree, Kendra? Oops. You're right, but I didn't write down what you said. Okay, nice. Wonderful. Sweetness. Yeah. Go Flames. Okay, pause. Okay, you got 5 to 10 minutes to work on the bottom of page 29. Homework, fill in the charts, and then number 6, you know what to do. Number 6, you find the numbers and just put them in the brackets if they start with x squared, and they all do. And then we'll move on to the top of page 29. Okay, so right now, bottom of page 29. Podcast, pause for 10 minutes and then unpause. Okay, let's correct quickly. Numbers that multiply to 6 and 7 and 30 and add to 11 are those guys. Same question, but now they add to negative 11. So you got to put 2 negative signs on them. That's the only time you can get a positive product and a negative sum. Okay, the only time, I think you probably know this now, only time you can have a sum bigger than a product is if it's 1 bigger, and it's 1 times that number. Seen that 4 times, I believe. 15 are 5 and 3. Which one's negative, 5 or 3? Say both. Good job. I'm thinking, first thing I think of is 8 times 7 when I see 56. It doesn't work for this one. It works for that one. But they don't add to negative 15, so what do we have to do? For G? George. Grandpa? Negatives, good. And lastly, I don't know. Do you know? No idea. So what do? You divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4, and eventually you're going to get 2 numbers that have a difference of 18. Natalie? What'd you say? Wow, good job. Super duper. So that's a tough one. If you can't figure it out, you use your calculator. That's why it's your best friend forever. And then you replace the teddy bear with the calculator at nighttime. Good for you. Okay, we have a quiz on this tomorrow, as soon as we crack the other homework. So we're taking this homework now. Two numbers that multiply to 2 and add to 3 are what numbers in the bracket? Everyone? 2 and 1. Doesn't matter which way it goes, just put equal signs, please, or it doesn't make any sense. Same question, but they add to -3, not +3. So you need to put two negative signs. This one, two numbers that multiply to 18 and add to 9. That doesn't look realistic. Is that impossible? What are they? Nope, good try. 6 and 3, someone said? Or 3 and 6? Those are the ones. And similarly, these two numbers are 6 and 2. Now let's get into some negatives where it's a little harder. Two numbers that multiply to 21. Well, geez, there's only two numbers that you think of that multiply to 21. So 7 and 3. And the sum is -10. So what are the numbers? What are you going to put in brackets? Who has the answer? Hasn't said anything yet. Come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Come on. Two numbers multiply to 21 and add to -10. It's a good one. You said something right. I'm looking at those guys. Thanks, Sienna. Perfect. Good job. And lastly, two numbers that multiply to 24, so similar to what we just had. We're going to have two negative signs. Tell me what the answer is, an F complete answer. So by the way, everyone say this. Everyone say x subtract 7 times x subtract 3. X subtract 7 times, don't say bracket. We're professional math students. Brackets mean multiply in math, okay? So who can say this professionally for me? Thank you, Kendra. Okay, good job. Perfecto. Yeah. So that's sum product. That'll part 1 of sum product. And we'll go on part 2 and have more homework as promised. But first, we're going to go to two-stepper. Sum product questions. We already wrote this down. We already have it, but we're going to write it down again. First step is always GCF. Can you take out a 5 from each term? It's going to make your life a lot easier, and it's going to give you more right answers, because if you don't take the GCF first, very few students take the GCF out at the end. It's too hard to see that. So, the first thing we're going to do is take out the greatest common factor, not just a factor. We're not going to take out a 2, we're going to take out a what? 4. That's that 4. I'm going to leave it. So take out a 4. That means divide everything by 4. You get x squared, subtract 8x plus 12. Feels like we're done because we've been done. Last week we were done. This week we're not done. Now we learned GCF, but then we also learned sum product. So now expect once you take the GCF out, there's probably another step. Not all the time, but I'd say over half the time. So now you do what we just did. You need two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to -8. What two numbers multiply to 12 and add to -8? Awesome. -2 and -6. So we're doing sum product inside the brackets because it starts with x squared. But don't forget to bring down the 4. You can't just leave the 4 now. So Olivia said x subtract 6 times x subtract 2. Bravo. Bring down the 4, otherwise it will not be equal. Bring down 4 or you'll lose 25% of your mark. So first step, GCF. Second step, sum product, the bracket. So 2 questions in 1. What grade are you in? 10. That's no problem at all. We just did questions that had 10 arrows. This is nothing. Give me a challenge. Okay, do B. Let's do it one at a time. After we correct B, we'll move on to C. Kitty cat. And after that, you're going to just do charts and do some product. Get better and better and better. Okay, GCF first. What can you take out? The biggest number you can take out. Start with the smallest number and go down. And the smallest exponent. Don't forget to take that out or it's not going to work. I'm trying to do B one step at a time. So I gave you a hint. What's the GCF you can take out? Brittany, you have a question? Or an answer? What's GCF you can take out of each term? Somebody? Thank you. Drew says 3x. Good. What's left over? X squared. If we divide everything by 3x, if you want to do it this way or whatever way you want to do it. But, okay. You have to do that first step or you can't do this question. Now, some product for that guy. You just did the first step, you'll get 50% of your mark because you did half your work. But don't forget to bring the 3x down because that's a mark you don't want to lose because you did the hardest part and then you left it off for some reason. If you write that equal sign, it has to be equal. And it won't be equal unless you write 3x in front of it. So now you need two numbers that multiply to 10 and add to 7. Two numbers multiply to 10 and add to 7, everyone? 5 and 2. So x plus 5 times x plus 2. If you FOIL that, you get 7x plus 10, and then if you distributed that, you would get the original trinomial. Okay, do C. And D. Better get some negative in there. Negative 3x squared, subtract 3x plus 60. It's Monday, I'm being generous. What do you have to do when the first term starts with a negative? Sydney? Yeah, you take a negative GCF out. So remember, anything that starts with a negative, you take a negative GCF out. That's the trick to that guy. All right, pause, pause, pause. 44, we'll wait till 44, 44. Club that's Uncle Trent. 40, 41, 42, 43. So cool. Okay, 4 4s, our lucky day. We are blessed. Let's look at taking a 2 out. And let's thank God for blessings, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. We thank God for our school, our food, our clothes, our parents, our trips that we've had, our birthday presents, our tons of everything that we have, especially in very well-off Okotoks, Alberta. And we pray that we don't take them for granted, and we share what we have with others. For this we pray to the Lord. Lord, hear our prayer. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Okay, now, what? Two numbers that multiply to 2 and add, the sum is 3, and those are 1 and 2. Okay, so this one, you can see that's about as easy as I can give you on a two-stepper, but you don't want to lose one whole mark because you forgot the sum product. Okay, you would lose, that's a pretty easy mark to get. You want to make sure you understand that probably after you take the GCF, not every time, but probably you can factor further. Usually inside the bracket you can do something else. Not always, but usually. And remember, when we did GCF questions, we had stuff like this. So this is different than a question like that. Remember, we were dealing with x to the 5th and y to the 7th. That's usually the GCF questions that there's nothing else to do. You just take a GCF out and you're done. But here, there's just squares and cubes, and you can do it. Okay, you didn't get to this one, that's okay. The trick here, and star this please, is to take a -3 out. And careful with the signs. Don't know why I put a 3 there. I'm over it. Just make sure you check to see if this gives you -3x squared, and this gives you -3x, and this gives you plus 60. Okay, you're good. That's a good start. Feels like you're done, especially since last week that's all we did. But now you need two numbers that multiply to -20 and add to what? What number is that? There's a 1. Yeah, cracker means one cracker. Xylophone means one xylophone. So what two numbers multiply to -20 and add to +1? Anyone find that out? Thank you. Kendra? No, good try. Yep. 5 and -4, not the other way around. Don't forget, you got to keep that -3. You got to bring it down. So there. Okay, you're welcome for teaching you this. Like, this is just the best part of your week. So, salute to me for teaching you, and salute to you for being so great. Okay, next is to fill in some charts. So go to the next page. Anyone still writing that down? Go to the next page and fill in the chart where it says more sum product. Go ahead and fill those two charts in the middle of the page. Great, you have a question? Just stuck with the signs? -4, so two numbers that multiply to -20 and add to 1. So the sum is positive, the big number is positive. Yep. So if you made a sign mistake, that's fine. You did awesome. Okay, next page. Middle of the page is here. There we go. Fill these two charts in, both sides. A to H. And you might need some calculators for G and H. Looks pretty super. Which means just divide the product by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until you get to two numbers in H that give you a difference of 6. All right, podcast, pause until we correct these. Good job, podcast people. Okay, so after you do these charts, homework is going to be on page 30 and 31. And tomorrow we're going to correct page 30 and 31 and then have a sum product quiz. Mainly on sum product. There'll be a couple two-steppers, and there might be 1 or 2 GCF questions that we did last week. God bless us, or no, never mind. Stay here and don't go anywhere, because we got to fill these charts in. Ha ha ha. Let's take a few minutes to correct this, and you'll be all well on your way to doing your homework. Two numbers that multiply to -24 and add to -2. And If we have any other volunteers who haven't spoken yet, that'd be great. But anyone, we gotta get going. Oh, good hands. Thank you, Olivia. 4, -6. Well done. Okay, those add to -2 and multiply to -24. Okay, how about -16 and 6? Thank you, Cal.
8 and -2.
Perfect. Those add to 6 and multiply to -16. If they add to -6, you would just change the negative sign. Good job. C. Everybody. 4 and -2. Well done. D, everybody. Nice. Okay. So far, so good. Looks like we're rolling until we hit to these guys, and then we can scream and run out of class. E. Anyone get E? Probably not. Oh, talk to me. Good. Perfect. Those are the numbers that should call out to your brain when you see 56. How about 18 and -9? It's a weird one, but a fun one. Oh, I know Mitch, the kids got this one. He's so quiet.
-3 and -6.
Yes, sir. Did you get the next one, Mitchy the kid?
Yeah.
Okay, what'd you get? Good job. Perfect. That's 1,000. And they add up, so start that one. That'd be the hardest one I could give you. Or you still got calculator. Calculator do it. If you divide by 2 and 2 and 500, well, no. 2 and 500 are not even close to adding to 30, so you got to start dividing by 25s and 10s. And is it 10 and 100? No, that's still 90. I still need less than that, so it's got to be divide more than 10. So divide by 20, divide by 25. And you'll get it fairly soon. You don't have to divide by 7, 8, 9. Start by the multiples of 5. Okay, and this one, negative Butch Goring, and add to negative Galamaki. No, Galamaki is 8. I'm not sure. Maybe Galamaki. Anyone get this one? Thank you, Emma. 7 and -13. That's so hard. Not for your calculator. Good job. All right, let's go wash your desks. Have a great school day and then evening, and do the homework on page 30, 31. And then we'll have a quiz to even wake us up more on Tuesday. God bless and awesome day.